Jesus told three stories about things that were lost and how important it was for them to be found. And in his first story, he says that a shepherd came home who had 100 sheep. But as he counted them as they went into the sheepfold, there were only 99. And Jesus said he left the 99 in the sheepfold and went out and called the lost sheep until he found him, and then put him over his shoulders and brought him home. And all of the people came in and rejoiced because the shepherd had found the one sheep that was lost. And then Jesus told another story. He said it was like a woman who had a necklace with coins on it. Now, where Jesus lived, they didn't have engagement rings and wedding rings. They had a necklace with gold coins on it that they wore around their neck. And that was the sign that they were a married woman. Well, this woman lost one of the coins off of her necklace, and she was very upset. And Jesus said she told the neighbors, and the neighbors came in, and she swept the house, and they looked everywhere until they found the lost coin. And now she can put it back on her necklace, and it's complete. And everybody rejoiced because she had found her lost coin. Well, then he told another story that's more important than a lost sheep or a lost coin. The sheep maybe just wandered away, and the lost coin was probably an accident. But this one is on purpose. And Jesus tells us a story about a lost son. And the son is the youngest son. And in those days, the oldest son got a portion of the father's will, the biggest portion when the father died, and the youngest son got the rest. Well, this youngest son went to his daddy and he said, "Dad, I want my inheritance now. I don't want to wait till you die." Well, now Daddy could have maybe told him no, but the son would have been mad and he might have left home anyway. And Dad said, "Okay, son, if that's the way you feel, I'll give you your inheritance now." And this foolish young man took his money and he went into a faraway foreign country where they kept a lot of pigs for one thing, and didn't believe in God, and he made friends, and that's because he had a lot of money. And they were glad to help him spend his money. But it wasn't long before all of his money was gone. And there was a famine, and he couldn't find any work. The only thing he could find to do, this Jewish boy, was to work with the pigs. He was in a pig pen, and the Jews hated pigs. He ate the slop that they threw the pigs, corn cobs and sour milk and old bread. What a terrible way to live. Well, he's dirty, and he's hungry, and he's ashamed, and he's feeling really bad, and he gets to thinking about it. And he begins to think, the servants in my father's house are better off than I am. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return. Oh, he's made one good decision. I'm going to return to my father's house. I'm going to tell him I've sinned and I'm sorry. And would he please just let me come back and be a servant? And so the son headed home. Now, what he doesn't know is that the father in Jesus' story has been sitting on the porch watching every day for any sign of his lost son to come back. And one day he looks, and coming down the road, dirty and disheveled and smelling like pigs, comes his son. And the father goes off the porch and runs and meets the son and throws his arms around him and hugs him. That means the father got all of the dirt and the smell of the pigs all over himself. He's so glad to see his boy. And the boy says, "Dad, I'm sorry. I've done a wicked thing, and I know it was wrong, and I've come home, and I just want to be one of your servants in your house." And the dad said, "Son, come on." He put his arms around his shoulder. "Let's go home." When they got back home, he went into the house, and the dad said, "Son, go take a bath, and servants, you go get him a robe and bring him sandals." Servants didn't wear shoes, but he's asking that the servants bring sandals for his son's feet. And then he says when the son comes back all cleaned up and he gives him the new robe and the sandals for his feet, the dad takes his ring off and gives it to his son, and that's like giving him a blank check. And so he says, "You're my son and you've returned, and I'm so glad. You're not going to be my servant." Now that could have been a beautiful end to the story because it shows us that God is ready to forgive if we just ask him. But it's not the end of the story. Remember, we had a lost sheep, and the shepherd went after the sheep until he found him, and all the people rejoiced. Then we had a woman who lost a coin off of her marriage necklace, and everybody helped her search, and when she found it, they all rejoiced. Well, the son is back, but his big brother's outside. And he hears all of the laughing and the preparation, and somebody comes out and says, we need a sheep. We're going to cook a sheep and have a big party tonight. And the older brother says, what are we having a party for? And they said, don't you know? Why, your brother has come back. He's come home. And your daddy's so excited. He's just so glad to see him again. We all thought he was dead. And the older brother says, huh. That boy took his inheritance, squandered it, fooled around with prostitutes, wasted his money, and lived in a pig pen, and now he's coming back, and we're going to have a party from him? Well, I'm not coming in. I didn't run away. I've stayed here faithfully and worked for my dad. Nobody's had a party for me. Well, the servants went back in and told the father, and the father came back out and said to the son, son, you're my oldest son. And you've had my house and my money and my love all the time. Anything I had was yours. And now your brother who's been lost and we thought maybe even was dead has come back. And of course we're rejoicing because he's come back. He's repented. And I want you to come in and rejoice with us. Now, kids, God rejoices when we really repent. When we're really sorry, that means you change the way you think, you change the way you act, you begin to do the things you're supposed to do. God rejoices and the angels rejoice. Sometimes, even though you've tried to change, people are not real sure. And sometimes they keep treating you. Maybe the teacher keeps treating you like you were treated when you misbehaved all the time. You may have to really change your heart and your actions for quite a while before other people begin to realize that you're back and rejoice over the fact that you've changed. The big brother, we don't want to be like the big brother. We don't want to be angry because the Father is glad that a sinner has returned. We want to be glad when anybody changes the way they act and the way they live because they've come back and God has forgiven them.